Hey everyone, it's Mari, and Kelly and I are back this week with another challenge. This week we're scrapping the boys, so we are issuing a challenge to scrapbook photos of the boys in your life. In this case, I am going to be scrapbooking a photograph of my son, and this is a picture of him taken recently by his girlfriend, and I think that they were just out one day after work and school and that kind of thing, and just having a drink. So that's what I'm scrapping today. So I'm going to be just taking some cardstock. I'm going to use this Tim Holtz mask, and it's kind of a diamond pattern shape, and I think there's another word for this pattern, but I can't think of it right now. And what I'm doing is I'm just taking my Heidi Spot Gold Color Shine. I sprayed that down onto that mask. I flipped the mask over now and pressed that down just to utilize all of the color shine there. I'm going to size my photo down here a little bit, and just to make it a little bit more square rather than so tall or elongated. And I'm going to just mat this onto some cardstock, and I think I started off here with some white textured cardstock, and then I decided that I'm going to change up the color scheme here completely. So you'll see that instead of using that white cardstock with the gold on it, I'm actually going to change it up, and I'm going to use a piece of craft cardstock with the gold on it instead. Now I'm going to be using a bunch of fall colors here, and this is just a really gorgeous vanilla color with gold foil on it. This is from Clarke, and it is gorgeous. I love it, and I just wanted to preserve the center part of that because I'm just going to be using the outer edge here as a frame. And so I'm going to size down this craft piece of cardstock, and then I'm going to back that with that frame. Now I just really love the fall colors that I'm going to be using here, and I just didn't the white background just wasn't going to quite work with the Hello Fall collection from Cartabella that I'm going to be using. So the colors that are in the photograph are kind of well, there's a lot of that really pretty kind of a burgundy or wine color, and this pattern paper that has the check on it, it's almost kind of like a buffalo check pattern, and I just really love it, and I wanted to incorporate that into the layout. So what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of trying to decide how I want to design the layout. And as I'm working away, I decide that I'm going to go with that vertical piece down the center of the layout and then build it from there. So at first I thought I was going to use this cut apart sheet with a little raccoon on it. You'll see me sizing this down, but I end up not liking the way that this looks with the layout, and I just end up putting that back in with the collection, and I'll use it on something else. So I'm just going through the collection now, and I'm just checking out all the different papers and trying to decide what I want to use from the Hello Fall. There's so many gorgeous pieces in here and so many options. It's kind of hard actually to narrow it down. But I really definitely wanted to pick up on that wine or burgundy color again. And I decided that I'm going to use a piece of this vanilla and gold foil cardstock on each side of that check pattern. And I just took my Stampin' Up! Border punch there that has the notebook edge on it. And I'm going to do that on either side of that buffalo check paper. Now I also really like this cut apart that's more of a square, and it's kind of got some orange. It's quite orange. And so then I was looking at some of the other papers, and I was thinking, you know, I'd really like to bring this leaf pattern in because of the leaves in the photograph, and it's got, of course, that pattern paper has got all the different colors in it. So now I'm kind of looking at bringing more of that orange in, and I'm repeating that leaf pattern. So I really love this orange text paper from that same collection. And I'm thinking now that I'm going to put another frame or another layer behind that craft in the orange color. So you'll just see me kind of measure off with a pencil where I need to cut that orange paper down. And I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to have to cut down my craft paper a little bit smaller as well, so that it's not going to it'll just make it a little bit more kind of sized properly. And you'll see what I mean once I put that on there. So I didn't want it to be so big. I wanted there to be more of that orange border so that I don't want all of the borders to be exactly the same width, I guess is what I'm trying to say in a very poor way. Okay, so once again here I'm just measuring off with my pencil, and I'm going to take the center out of that orange paper. So now I've done that, and I've kind of got things layered up exactly kind of how I want them. I'm going to just tear off the ends of that check paper in kind of a rough way, just because I think it looks kind of a little bit more interesting if there's some texture on the edges of that paper rather than just everything being so clean and straight. This roughness just kind of looks cool. So I'm just going to do that now, and you can see that I've got the border punch cut from each side of that vanilla color paper with a gold foil on either side of the plaid. And I've matted the photograph of Jordan in some vanilla paper. And now I've decided that I'd like to bring in more of the gold. So right now I basically just have the gold in that color shine and then around that outermost border. And I want to put a little bit of gold on the photo mat as well, just to bring a little bit of gold accents there. And so I just add just a little tiny bit of this gold glitter paper. And that's some paper from Recollections. Now I've also just taken a die from Simon Says Stamp, which is the word thankful. And I've cut that from that same gold glitter paper as well. And I'm going to eventually use that as part of my title for the layout. Now I'm looking at the sticker sheet from Hello Fall, and I'm kind of trying to think about how I might use some of these stickers on here. And some of them are pretty big. I didn't want to use anything super large. So at this point, I'm just kind of trying to sort out what the placement is going to be for the elements that I have on the layout right now, and then what might work for a sticker. So I really like this burgundy or wine colored leaf, and I do end up using that eventually on the layout. So you can see that I've popped up both the photograph and that journaling card with some craft foam, and I have everything that's on the layout right now stuck down, and now I'm going to start creating a little cluster in that bottom right hand corner. Some of these die cuts are from an older fall collection. I think this was maybe from a Cartabella collection from last year or maybe even the year before. I've kind of got a little fall stash that I have in a really large Ziploc bag in a storage container in my craft room. And so I just went into that stash, and I'm kind of looking at what I can use from there. So now this is a sticker scallop border from the Hello Fall collection. And I really love this plaid. And I wanted to put this sticker on there just as a kind of like a little grounding and detail bit at the bottom. So then I'm thinking I also want to repeat that same diagonal plaid on the layout in a couple of places. So you'll see me just take this and size it down a little bit. And I'm just going to use a tiny little piece of it below the photograph of Jordan and another piece above, just to bring that plaid into the photo layer or the mat for the photo and those layers in that location. So I'm just going to add those there, and I really like how that complements that sticker, that plaid sticker at the bottom. Now I'm going to just kind of start to play around with what I want the title to be, and it's going to be So Thankful. And what I'm journaling about here is just how I am really grateful that Jordan is happy. I'm not really grateful that he's a really long ways away from me now, but I am really grateful that the move so far has been a good one, and he seems to be happy, and he sure was happy looking in this photograph. Don't you agree? I think he looks pretty happy there. Now I'm taking a look at the layout, and I'm thinking it's missing something. So I end up adding another cluster at the top right-hand corner of the photograph. And you'll just see the little bits and pieces there that I've added, including some thread and a little bit of baker's twine on that little jar in the bottom cluster. I hope you enjoyed this, guys, and make sure you check out Kelly's layout as well for this week. Head on over to her channel by clicking the link in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you go into your stash. If you have some boys in your life that you'd like to scrapbook your dad or your brother or your husband or your son or whoever, then this is a little challenge to do that. So I hope you enjoyed this, and thanks so much for stopping by. Have an amazing day, guys. Bye-bye.